This video is about film photography for beginners. Now, why would you shoot film? I mean, it's not better or worse than the digital, of course. In my case, I have been shooting film for a long time, but then I realized that, film has such a character. It's difficult, but you get to enjoy it. You think every step, and that part, I love it a lot. Now, remind you that that's not the only reason, obviously. There are many more reasons to shoot film. Now, of course, if I need to tell you why I shoot film, I mean, obviously, good thing is that I live in a beautiful place, a beautiful island where nature, everywhere, ocean, and beautiful views. Doesn't matter if it's raining, doesn't matter if it's not, it's just beautiful nonetheless, which kind of convinced me to shoot film. Now today we are going to south part of La Reunion, which is pretty windy but beautiful nonetheless. So we're in there to go for a walk, and it's on the coast of the Indian Ocean with a beautiful view of volcanic mountain at the distance. And of course, you're walking on top of like a volcanic lava, which is a long time ago stopped at the coast of this Indian Ocean, which is beautiful. Now, obviously, when you go in a place like that, you never are prepared. You just don't know what is coming ahead in front of you. Like, you just don't know, is it gonna be beautiful, not beautiful, windy, not windy, raining or not raining. And especially those are important because that changes everything about your point of view, about your composition. In fact, more importantly, your safety, because if it's raining, then you need to be extra careful with yourself and your materials, obviously. Now, rolling a film as a beginner is not a joke, trust me. As much as it looks super easy, and there are many tutorials available in the internet, which I've obviously seen a lot, but first time is always difficult. Even the second time. Because your hands will be shaking, and you need to think about your every single step. You're not even sure the roll even went through or not, even with a lot of noise. And in my case, as you can clearly see, that I'm actually outside next to the ocean literally, and I'm basically exposing it directly to the nature. Could be salt water, could be sand, could be anything, could be even the light passing through the plastic. In the end, the sound is just glorious. I mean, it's just like me being a kid, even though I'm an adult.
There you go, done.
It's fun nonetheless.
But I'm gonna change the filter because it's a blue sky, so I think the red filter is a good idea because then the sky is going to be dark and the cloud is going to stand out. I'm not really sure. This is all the hypothesis, so I'm just going to give it a go anyway. And most likely I'm going to keep my either red or the yellow filter all day long for pretty much the half of the time. Now ideally, yellow filter is a safe filter. It's not too aggressive, contrasty like the red one. So I'm not really sure which one I'm going to do. I'm hesitating. So probably I'm going to stick with the yellow just to be safe. Right. So that's that. But the thing is that I'm next to ocean. So if I put my filter holder on, then I won't be able to put my camera lens cap. So that means that I have to be very careful with sand or salt water. So we'll see. This is a learning process, but I don't want to learn with a big cost of losing my accessories. So there you go, that's the one. let's do a trial shot. Trial shot would be probably behind me, that little crater with the ocean. I'm not really sure, but just if it's a good photo, and I'm just gonna get lucky. If it's not, it's not. Done.
Now, film photography or photography in general is not just about technicality. I mean, it forces you to go out and enjoy whatever you have outside your door. I mean, you get to go for a walk, it's good for your health, it's good for your mind, and you get to get out of your daily routine, which is, for me at least, wonderful. Anyway, all of a sudden I just realized that I have a wide angle lens, but it's just not enough.
I think this is the time that I really need my 70 to 200, because right now I'm using 17 to 40, so it's like a wide angle lens. At 40 should be less distortion. The idea is to get all these nice beautiful V-shaped craters with my yellow filter on. Thing is, with the wide angle lens, generally it looks really far, but the idea is to bring it closer. So I'm gonna try at 40 first, and hopefully that should give me enough to, you know, have all this beautiful thing. I've been trying to take this photo for like a long time, so this is the moment. If it works, then it's fine, but if it's not, then I have to make an extra effort probably later to get my long lens. So let's give it a go. Now, I need to point it out. It's very big contrast. Like you have dark and white. So I need to be very careful where I'm focusing. It's because it's a bright day, but if I focus for the cloud, then it's going to be very dark at the bottom. And if I focus for the bottom, then there's going to be nothing for the sky. So I have to find the best of both worlds. See that where is the good point. So I'm not really sure. To be on the safe side, I'm going to do two things. One, take off the yellow lens, and then I'm going to go to the wider edge and take a photo to see two things. One, what does it give with wider side and without the yellow filter. Let me show you. I don't know how you can show it, but I don't know. Probably you can see something there, who knows, but if you can see it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're giving it a try. Alright, moving on. I like this tree over there.
While I'm going there and then taking the photo of this branch, let me tell you one thing. About the film photography, it's also about the challenges in every single step, because you have your control from the beginning to the end. And not only that, you need to think about something else. You have to think about the chemicals that you're using. You need to think about the lens, camera, the film, the ISO, basically everything. And believe me, you just have to get out of your comfort zone super fast. And not only that, the scanning part and the end result, when the negative all of a sudden appears on the film negative, I don't know how to explain that feeling. It's just glorious. Trust me.
Again, I still have my yellow lens on, yellow filter on. So probably I'm going to keep. Actually, I'm going to keep it because it's going to make the blue even more darker. So that should give me a bit more contrast, I think. But again, it's a bright daylight in the middle of the day. Probably the worst time to take any kind of photography anyway. So I'm doing it, and that's also another challenge. And I have to be very careful as well because I don't want to, hurt myself in the name of passion.
I mean, this part of the image just me showing off. So trust me.
And now I'm going to take off my yellow lens and take a photo in the landscape size to see what it gives anyway. There you go. You're probably going to look at the result immediately because obviously I'm going to go home and then develop it and then scan it for you. For you, just an easy one. You just have to watch the video.
And as a beginner, film photography is super important even if you shoot digital photography, because think about it, this day everybody is a photographer. You have a smartphone and a smartphone can take brilliant images, and also the digital cameras got more and more advanced. The thing is that the simplicity is not there anymore. In the past, there's a different type of simplicity. You could just put a roll of film and start shooting outside. Now in the menu of every single advanced camera, they're not camera anymore, they're like supercomputer. And I feel personally that I'm getting outside of the photography part, art part, and going towards the technical part, which is, I feel it's not good for photography.
As you can clearly understand that I'm taking a lot of photos of exact same thing. So that's the first one. The second one, I will be taking this one off and then take a photo bit of in wide. There you go.
Now, after taking all these images, I realized that I have got 11 exposures left. I have no idea what to do. I do have few ideas in my head, and some of them could be changing my wide angle lens to telephoto lens that I have, 70-200 L lens, which is awesome. And I do have a macro extension tube, so probably I could take some extension macro photos on film. We'll see. I'm still thinking.
I really like this tree right there. It's not a tree, what I'm talking about. It's agave basically, but in the black and white is going to be two different things. That nice beautiful coastline at the background, and the foreground is obviously the tree. In my eyes, once again looks pretty phenomenal. And there's two people coming that direction. Maybe they will give some character to this image if I can make it happen properly. So I'm gonna give it a go, but I'm have to wait for those guys to come in my frame. Okay, first of all, it's hot. And second, as I said, I'm going to change my lens to telephoto and take exact same photo but in the long distance lens. Basically, within the range of 70 to 200. Because first of all, landscape photography is not complete without a telephoto. Alright, in front of my balcony, I do have a beautiful, nice lychee tree, and a lot of birds are roaming around. So my objective is, if I get lucky, I might be able to catch a bird in action eating probably some lychee. That would be so cool. So yes, I won't be able to catch any color. However, I might be able to catch something more interesting other than color. This is the view from my bedroom. I have been trying to use that glass bowl for a long time. Now today I've got my opportunity. So let's see what it gives in film at this state. Finally, to end this video, I'm going to do some macro film photography with this beautiful extension tube and trying to take this little drop. Now, that was a wonderful day taking photos, and that's the final roll. Let me show you. So that's the final roll of Ilford FP4 Plus. Now, obviously you've taken your photos, you had a good time. What next? The next step is to develop it, but in order to develop it, there's one more step before putting your film inside this Patterson box. Now this one, mine one is the biggest one. Obviously, it can be half of the size, depends on which one do you have. I have the biggest one available. Now, before even that, there is one other step to make sure that you're going to the right direction, which is you're checking your developer. So what I do as a beginner, because I'm not really sure all the time, because this is my third roll of film that I am developing ever. So this is me giving you as a beginner's perspective. Now this is my Kodak D76, the developer, which been with me for about 3 months. Now 3 months is not that long, because generally this one takes about 6 months before it expires. However, it's crucial to check your developer before even opening the can of film. Why? Because imagine that you opened it, you put it in your Patterson, and then you realize that your developer is off. Then you have to wait to create. If you don't have any developer, you're screwed. You need to order your developer, mix it. If it's in a powder form, if it's in a liquid form, then you're kind of okay. But that's a hassle nonetheless. That's what I was trying to say. So in that case, to avoid all this hassle, you always check your developer. In case of D76, if it's off, generally it turns brown. So I'm gonna check. I hope really, because I don't know, I didn't check it. I hope that it's in a good condition. So I'm gonna pour a little bit inside my measuring jar and see if there's any change in color. In fact, there are no change in color ish, because it became a little bit more brown. It used to be much more crystallized, so which means I might get lucky, but this is a huge risk, because we had a good time. It's a fun developer, fun time, and for fun project. But if I was taking photo seriously for something really important, I would make a fresh batch of developer. So you and me, we're gonna find out if it is actually good as it looks like. Now, I'm convinced, so I'm gonna put my film on the side. I'm gonna put back my developer, and potentially this is the last time I'm using it. After that, I'm gonna create another batch of developer. Could be something else, not the same one. Now, in order to put your film inside the Patterson, or if you have something else, principle is the same. You need that. You need a dark room. You need a can opener. I don't have a can opener, but I do have my champagne stopper. So I'm gonna use that as a can opener. And then, leave it on the side. Put that back on the side too. And I need a scissor. And finally, most importantly, I need a dark room, but I don't have a dark room. What I do have is this little zip bag available in eBay or Amazon, which basically is like a t-shirt without any head for the hole, where you throw everything inside and kind of do the same thing. Imagine doing exactly the same thing, but without looking at it.
That's a challenge because my first roll, I was stressed like no tomorrow. There are plenty of videos available in YouTube. I highly recommend you to go and check it out. But one thing I learned as a beginner, because this is my third roll, so I'm not really expert yet, that I'm always stressed. No matter how many times you watch a video, you really need a lot of practice and do it repeatedly until you become comfortable about it. And it's kind of fun. Once you are in it, you are good to go. But make sure that you take your time. Do not rush. Do it in the weekend on your day off. Don't do it when you have something else to do later. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck. So that's my suggestion. Do it when you have a whole day available to yourself. Now I'm going to do it and I'm going to get back to you in a moment. All right, now that my film is inside the Patterson and it's time to develop. So I organized myself already for your sake and my sake to make sure that everything is, I'm not missing up or mixing anything. Otherwise it's going to be a catastrophe. So I'm just going to turn off my chronometer. So just to give you an idea, film is inside. I've got my developer ready, Kodak D76. It looked a little bit brown, I told you earlier, but it's not that bad. I think I can handle that. I really hope so. Now, you need developer and you need a stopper to stop the developing process at certain moment. In my case, I just have a plain water with a drop of vinegar, pure vinegar, that's it, nothing else. If you're doing a lot of medium format or 2-3 film rolls at the same time, then you need a specific stopper. In my case, just a plain water is just fine, and in your case too. To fix, you need a fixer. That's a 1, 2, and number 3. To fix, I'm using the Tetanol Super Fix Plus. What it does, it tries to get rid of all these weird effects of the variant. If you want to know more, go ahead and read more about it. But just know, for the sake of starting it as a beginner, that you need a developer, a stopper, and a fixer. In my case, I have a Kodak D76, the classic developer for black and white, plain water, and Tetanol Super Fix Plus. Now, how much and how long? In developer, I have about 290 milliliter of developers inside. Why? Because it's written at the bottom. So double check at the bottom how much you need the liquid. The stopper doesn't really matter. Similar quantity or a little bit more. You can see that it's a little bit more. And in terms of the stopper, I try to maintain the similar, a little bit more than the developer. I followed exact whatever is written in the instruction. That is super important. Follow the instruction in terms of the temperature and the quantity, and you'll be just fine. Don't stress too much. Now, if you were wondering what is the last one, this is kind of necessary, but not that much. It's Kodak Photo Flow. What it does, if you add it at the very end, it kind of tries to get rid of the water drops when it dries out. That's all. Nothing else. So let's jump into the developing process. I'm kind of stressed, so forgive me if I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to be organized as much as I can because I'm not kind of used to record and then doing something that's stressful at the same time. So forgive me. Again, I'm a beginner. This is exactly what you're going to feel when you're going to do that. Now, first step, I'm going to wash it with just a plain water. So I'm going to open it. And don't stress if you're opening it. Believe me, your film is well protected. At the very beginning, I felt super freaking stressed, but again, no need to worry about. So I'm gonna drop some water. The water flow makes me feel like pee. And I'm stressed, so, well, just a little bit of oil and drop it. I've got a bucket next to me. There you go. Now, temperature. In my case, I've got a temperature about 26 degree. Recommended is 20 degree. I wrote everything in my hand. So for 20 degree, you need to develop for 8.5 minutes. Because it's summer here and I could not control the temperature, so I had to compensate the time. So I double checked in Kodak website. It's written for, because it's 25 degree or 26, I need to develop it for 5 minutes and 29 seconds. So 5 minutes, 29 seconds, standard development time. I didn't overexpose too much. I didn't underexpose too much. So I'm going to do the standard development process. Once I get used to it, I'm going to play with the certain things. So now I'm going to turn on my chronometer, and once I'm putting inside, the following 5 minutes, 6 minutes is going to be super crucial. So if you're listening to any kind of sound from my neighbors or other weird sound, ignore it, just follow and stay with me. So 3, 2, 1, and go. So in that case, what I have to do, hope that I'm not making any mistake. First 30 seconds, you need to agitate properly. So you do that. So you turn, but you also turn your cube, the Patterson cube. So for 30 seconds, I'm checking my time. It's fun because, now I'm going to stop. It's fun because, this is the artisanal feeling. Like you're doing it for yourself from the scratch. Every process you were involved, almost no electronic, no software. And there is a lot of room for making mistake. 1 minute is gone. So I'm going to agitate for 10 seconds. So 10 seconds every minute. There you go. So 1 minute has passed. So double check, 5 minutes and 29 seconds. And then what was I? So it's stressful and everything, and there's a many room of errors. At the same time, think about it like a cooking some kind of cuisine, some kind of dessert. So pretty much the same thing. Even though everybody follows the same recipe, you don't really get the same result. It depends on many factors. So this is one of them. And this, I remind you, this is my third film that I'm developing. So trust me, I'm comfortable, but I'm not there yet. I think about 5 or 10 minutes later, so I'm going to do it a second time. 5 or 10 years later, I might, get even more comfortable. But at this point, that's the fun part. Again, remember I told you that my developers have to get a little bit change in color, so that also might play in factor. And temperature is high, it's 26. I really wanted to keep it to 20 degree. I don't have anything to maintain the temperature, so unfortunately it's not going to happen. Important, I'm not using any gloves. Big mistake, always use gloves. The thermometer, it's important obviously to maintain to check your temperature is right or not. Again, this one not that important, but handy to have. If any photographer, any specialist photographer, analog photographer watching this video, let me know what I'm doing wrong. Love to know, but this is my third time, and so far, each time I managed it perfectly. My photo looked fantastic. If I made any mistake, it's potentially the last time with my Washi Z film, where I overexposed my film way too much, and I forgot to compensate during the development process. So it went wrong in every direction, which is not going to happen this time. I promise you. In second, and also remind you that again, so you have to have a film, a camera, and to go out and shoot first. Then the second step is to put your film in the Patterson cube, and you need to have the right developer. In the right developer can be anything. I'm using the codec D76. The codec D76 is the most classic one available out there. But that being said, you have the codec Xtol, which is very good. People these days also use, I think, the Rodinal. The reason why, not because it's exceptional, it apparently lasts forever. Once you buy it, you can, you're not obliged to finish it as soon as possible, because it stays for 3, 4, 5 years apparently. For me, 2 years is more than enough. So, and Kodak D76 on the other hand doesn't stay more than 6 months. Lucky enough, this is my third image that I'm developing, and guess what? It's finished already. That's quite amazing. I'm glad that not finished completely. What's happening is that generally with the stock, I had 1 liter stock. So each time I used about 290 milliliter, give or take 300 milliliter. So 3 times multiply 300, which is 900 milliliter. So I had 100 milliliter left. Sincerely, I don't see any use of that last 100 milliliter. So I kind of, it's gone, it's finished. So globally, in 1 liter with that size of Patterson, you will do 3 times with the stock solution. Remember, I remind you, stock solution. Every time I use the stock solution. I didn't dilute it. I forgot to mention it earlier, so I used stock solution. I'm repeating it because I know the people out there, especially the new one like me, want to double check, triple check, quadruple check every time. And I totally get you. Believe me, I do. And here I am trying to repeat this as much as I can. Again, use gloves. So I stop. Developing process is done. I immediately put some water. And while I was talking, I remind you, I overdeveloped it for about 1 minute, which is not very ideal. My fridge is on. So now I put the stopper inside, which is the diluted with my vinegar. Now I'm going to throw them away. Just for the safety, where's my bottle of water? I'm going to put some more bottle of water, plain water, just to get rid of the leftover developer in case, so that it's not contaminated with my fixer. Very important that none of them are mixed. So that's just a double, my extra precautionary step as a beginner. Make sure there is no developer left. So you wash it properly and you throw the rest of the water away. Now, time to fix. At this point, developing is done, so there is nothing to worry about. You can even open it and then put your fixer in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my fixer and I'm going to check for 20 degree. It says you need to fix for 3 to 5 minutes for 20 degree. Because it's 25 degrees temperature, I'm going to stop at 3 minutes and check if it's fixed or not. All right. I'm going to put that on the side. And important note while this is running, which is make sure that any of these the chemicals there, you don't just throw it in the sink for many reasons. If you're cooking in your sink, boy, you gotta be careful. I mean, they're not really environment friendly, especially the fixer is toxic, to be honest. So be careful, don't just throw it anywhere you can. But to be honest with you, there is a many argument, which is because the film photography community is so small that we are not really polluting much. It's not really significant environment impact, considering that how much shampoo, soap, or cleaning products for household cleaning, especially the bleach that we use every single day, every single car wash, every single industrial wash use crazy amount of chemical. This is almost nothing. That being said, play your part. Do not, I repeat, do not just throw things everywhere. All right. So 1.5 minutes done. I've got about 1.5 minutes. I can smell something. I think that's the smell of chemical. So again, I'm really close. So I should put some mask on. I don't have any. So I think it's too late. But probably in future, I'm going to get a mask and then make sure that I'm well protected. I'm not breathing everything in. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the stopwatch and open it. Right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just check for the sake of my mind that if it's already, even though it's 2 minutes only 2 minutes past, not 3 minutes, but I'm going to check it exactly if it's well exposed or not. So it looks good, but I think I need some more time fixing it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the film back in. Just like that, I don't care. And leave for another 1 or 2 minutes. So let's see what it gives me. I'm gonna turn. Again, this is a very toxic chemical. I'm exaggerating, I'm sorry. It's not really a toxic chemical, but it is toxic nonetheless. So do not put your hand like that. I'm an idiot. I'm just gonna turn it for 1 minute, see what it going. My camera is running out of battery. My lights are running out of battery, so so I have to be very careful on that department too. All right, let's see. It looks, there are a few improvements. I can see some improvements. There is no any kind of weird color going on. So maybe I stop, put it back. I do for 1 more minute, one last more minute. That's it. While it's running, I'm gonna turn on my tap water and fill up some water. Now 1 minute is gone. Now let's check the quality. I don't want to overfix anything. Oh yes. They all look fantastic. I can see a nice beautiful contrast. no weirdness. The images look just exactly how I wanted them to be. All in all, they all look just glorious. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to put them back. I throw my fixers away in the bucket and wash it with the fresh water. Right, now I'm gonna put some fresh water. Right, I'm gonna throw the fresh water away. Now I use about, so each one portion you need 200. So I'm gonna use the photo flow. Photo flow, you don't really need much. You need a syringe or something like that is recommended. And then just a little bit, like really small portion possible. Really small portion. Put it in. And fill up with the water. To be honest, our job is already done. Now I'm going to dry them with my couple of hanger, and it should be done. And after that, how many steps we went through? Taking photos, putting the photo inside the Patterson, developing the film. Now our fourth and almost final step is scanning film. Now this is where the debate starts, which is film photography is really film photography or hybrid photography? Because you're scanning and then you're not really printing on a paper. Generally speaking, not everyone's same like me, but as a beginner, now that you have a better technology available for scanning, so we are going through the film photography, but ending part is more like scanning than printing manually with the enlarger, which is my future goal to learn at this point. This is, I would call it hybrid photography, not really a film photography, 100%. So time to dry my film and then scan them. And this is going to be fun. Now, the fourth step of film photography generally is, as I said earlier, scanning your images. And for scanning, there are many ways to do that. One is the flatbed scanner like Epson, which very popular in the community of medium format photography and even larger. Obviously, why? Because you can actually scan. It's famous for flexibility. You can do 35 mm, you can do 120 or bigger. In my case, I use Plustek Optic Film 8100, which is fantastic, a dedicated scanner for film. Now, not that expensive. I bought it for about 300 euro, which is brilliant, and you can buy it even cheaper if you're buying secondhand. How I scan my film in this one, I made 3 different videos before. I highly recommend you to go down and check them. Seriously, because I work really hard explaining about in depth about how I do my scanning, and I found a very good result using those methods. If you want to check those examples, go down in my Instagram or Flickr account in the description below. And one more request before I jump into the slideshow of the images that I took so far in this long video, which is making videos like that cost a lot of money in my side. Again, this is awkward, I know, but if you can chip in something to help me continue making more videos like that, that would be just phenomenal. If you don't, that's fine by me, because I'm doing it for the love of photography. I do have a full-time job, and part of my salary goes to my passion. My wife is happy about it. She doesn't complain at all, which is amazing. But then again, if I can recover some money of my expense making videos like that, that just cherry on the cake. That's all I'm asking. And now, without any, let's finish this awkward demand of asking for money and show you the final result of the whole video, and let me know what you think about the image quality, the composition and the exposition, because I'm pretty sure I made a lot of mistakes. Point them out so that I can improve. And I love you all. Look after yourself, and bye bye.